Hello everybody and welcome. We are here for the Junk Journal January UK collaboration. This is a collaboration hosted by Bee Happy Stationery and Crafting Dragon Designs. Each day throughout January there are a number of different prompts and there are different creators assigned to each prompt. Some days there might just be one person, sometimes there's two, sometimes there's three. So there's so much to watch and engage with this month. All of the information will be down below if you want to go and check it out. I do recommend it. It's always fun to be part of these collaborations because even though we tend to be working with the same papers, the designs and the inspiration and all the ideas are all very, very different. So go and check out all the information, like I said, is down below in the description. Okay, so we are on day 10. It is Saturday the 10th of January and the prompt for today is favourite book/film. So that's the prompt that I have. Now, I'm not going to walk you through the kit because that's probably been done a million times already. I am going to show you the one page, though, that I have printed out. I have printed it out twice. This is on, I think, 200 or 220 GSM, so it's a bit thicker. And then I've got it on just standard copy paper as well. And there is a reason for that, but I'll get to that in just a moment. So basically what I was thinking of doing is I have a new planner, which I'll just quickly grab for you so you can see. So I have a new planner for January. Now I am recording this video on January 1st, so I haven't seen any of the other videos yet. I don't know what anybody else has done. My planner is also pretty empty because it is the 1st of January. So I've got this beautiful planner. And I've got these lovely monthly calendars which were designed by Jade E. Susan. And I've got 6 months worth in here. Now, I've got 5 tabs. So these indexes actually came with the planner, as did the weekly pages. But I've only got 5 of them. So that's great for February onwards, but I've got nothing for January. So I was thinking of making one for January. So that's going to be my plan, is to make a dashboard for my planner. So that's why I printed one on something that's slightly stiffer. And all I'm going to do is literally fold it in half, so I haven't printed on the back, just to again make it that little bit more sturdy. I'm just going to fold it in half and I'm going to glue it together. And then that is going to be my dashboard. Now, I know you're probably thinking, what on earth has that got to do with favourite book/film? And what I was thinking, and let me just, grab a bone folder just to fold that down a bit better. What I was thinking is these gorgeous mice here, and this really is a beautiful kit. So, I'm just going to slowly show you this page just so you can appreciate the beautiful image on here. So we've got these mice and they all look like they're kind of gathered around something. So I was thinking they could be gathered around their favourite book. So I'm going to make it a slightly interactive dashboard for my planner. And I've got these teeny tiny little book covers. Now these are a freebie from Nick the Booksmith, I believe. Now I know she hasn't been active for a while, so I don't know if these are still available. I've had these on my files on my computer for absolutely ages. But yeah, they're just teeny tiny little books. So I was thinking of either the red one, because I thought that kind of goes with the berries, or the green one because it's just, I don't know, green I guess goes with the leaves, I don't know. So yeah, I was thinking of making a little book that they could be reading and looking at. Although you've got this one, Birds of the Rockies, that's quite nice, isn't it? And I know it's green, but it's a nature one. What's this one? Rhymes and Jingles. We've got an atlas. Got some really beautiful covers on here. So I was thinking of using one of these and making a small book, and I'm going to have it opening. So I've got some tea stained paper here that I'm going to be using as well. So let's first of all just move this out of the way. I have got a little bit of cardstock just because obviously I want to make this a little bit stiffer. Oh, I can't decide. Do you know what? I'm going to make both books and then I can decide once they're both done, can't I? Now to do this, I am going to use a craft knife to cut this out. I would use scissors, but if you've ever been seeing me on this channel before, you know I'm no good with scissors. I certainly can't cut a straight line. So I'm going to use my craft knife to cut out these books. I'm going to go for this green one here. And I'm going to go for the red one down in the bottom corner. Now, I know this isn't a journal or anything, and I know there's probably lots of people that are making journals or making things to go in their journals. But yeah, like I said, I really needed a dashboard for my planner, and I was thinking of making one myself, but then I thought, well, actually, I've got this collaboration to do, and I just thought that paper was absolutely beautiful. So I thought, actually, yeah, I'm going to use that. Like I said, make it a bit more fun, a bit more interactive, and I can have a little book. Now deciding whether I want to perhaps be able to switch out the book. Ooh. Or do I just stick one book down to it? We can make that decision as we go along, I think. Right, so there's that. Right, the next task then is to obviously make the pages. So I'm going to use, like I said, my tea stained paper, and again I can probably use a trimmer, but I actually think I'd do possibly a better job doing it this way. So I'm just going to line it up, and I'm going to make a little mark with my craft knife, and then using my ruler. I'm actually going to use the guidelines on my ruler. I'm going to come in just slightly from my mark. So my mark's there. I'm going to come in just slightly because I'm going to line this up. So I've got little grid marks. So I'm going to go 2 grids up from this line here. And then at least I know that that edge is absolutely even. Well, say I can't cut straight with scissors. I can't cut straight clearly with the craft knife either, because that did go a little bit wonky down at the bottom. Right, let's move that bit over because that's where I should have been. Let's just line that up and carry that down. There we go. Right, now this is going to be more than enough pages than what I need for one book. So let's just kind of see where I want it. So about there, isn't it? Right. I'm going to use again the grid on here. Just to line that up and pull it down. Now I know that this is a plastic ruler, and I forgot to mention I've got a metal edge on this one. So that's why it's good enough to use with a craft knife. I'm not just cutting into the plastic. And down again, and I'm just going to keep going along like so. Now obviously I'm going to need to do a little bit of trimming once it's all kind of folded anyway, so I'm not too fussed if it's not exactly right. I'm sorry if you can hear some rain in the background, but as per traditional UK weather, it is now raining. Just before that line. Is that right? About there. Oops. Okay, and I might be able to get one more out of all that. Ah! It moved. Okay, like I said, not too much of a problem because it will all get pushed about in a moment anyway and need to be trimmed. Right, so I'm going to gather all of these up and I'm going to fold them in half. Like so. Okay, now I'm just going to fold this a little bit. Now I will put this on cardboard in a second, so I don't want to fold it too much. I'm just checking yeah, so as you can see, like I'm going to need to trim these down anyway, so not a problem. Right, first thing I'm going to do is get these stuck down. Although I've just realised I'm going to need another set of these, aren't I? Do I want red or do I want green? I'll have to have a look at those. Let's have a look. Let's decide. So we've got this one. So we could have our little mice with this book. Or we could have our little mice with this book. I don't know, which one do I prefer? I'm thinking the green. I'm thinking the green because I've got red berries, so I think if I've got red, do we not feel that it gets a little bit lost amongst the berries? Or does it help because it blends a bit with the berries? Nope, I think I'm going to go with red. I've convinced myself we're going to go with red. Okay, let's move that out of the way. Let's bring the cardboard in, and I'm going to stick this down on here. So just going to apply my glue. I'm just going to pop this right in the corner, and then I can obviously cut it out once it's all dry. I'm just going to make sure that that glue is completely spread under there. That's it. Okay. So I'm just going to grab my scissors. And now I don't mind using scissors because now I've got a little bit of a guide as to where I'm cutting. Okay, I can see I've got just a slight white edge there. I mean, I can ink the edges as well, so it's not too much of a problem. Okay, I'm going to give that a moment to dry before I start doing anything. What I will do then is on this, now I don't think I want to make it any thicker really, because I don't want it too bulky. So I think I'm just going to staple it. So I'm going to use my tiny attacher. Oops, just going to make sure that it's all lined up. And then where the crease is, I'm going to give it a couple of little staples. Then just fold that back over. Like I said, it doesn't matter if things are poking out in bits because I will sort that out in just a moment. So to help with the folding, I'm just going to bring in my teeny tiny scoreboard. And I'm just going to score just around where the spine is. There we go. And I am going to round the spine a little bit, so I'm just rolling it in between my fingers. Because like I said, I don't want it too bulky. This is supposed to be a dashboard. But I hope you can see I've just rounded the spine. Okay. Now let's just see how this fits in. So the height's not too bad, but I definitely need to take some off the width. So I'm going to bring all of this back in, and I'm just going to straighten it up slightly because it has gone a little bit wonky. Okay, and then same on the other side. here I just want to straighten it up as well. Okay, let's get rid of all that and see how that fits in here. Okay, still need to take off just a teeny tiny little bit more. Okay, so about there I think should do it. Okay, like that. And we just check that that fits nicely inside, which it does. Right. I'm just going to give this a tinsy bit of an ink. Okay, and this, as I said, is going to go in here. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to glue the first page and the last page to the actual cover, and I won't stick it along the spine. I'll keep that bit free, I think. But that's a cute little book. Right. I'm going to flip it over, do the same on this side. Okay, and then there's the teeny tiny little book. That's quite sweet, I like that. Right, okay, the next little thing then is how we're going to secure it, or does it matter if it's kind of opened up a little bit? I think I quite like that it opens up a little bit. So you could potentially put some string around here to kind of hold it closed if you wanted to. I don't think I'm going to. I think once it's in my planner anyway, and obviously I'm going to have other stuff on top, it's going to end up pushing that closed anyway. And I quite like that it looks a little bit open. So I'm going to leave it like that, and that's how I'm going to stick it down. But before I do that, I am going to just first of all check the size of this. Ooh, so I'm just going to bring my thingy back in. So actually, that is the right size. I might just need to trim it ever so slightly. What I'm going to do is grab this one actually and use this as a bit of a guide. So let's move that out of the way again. Okay, so actually size-wise that's absolutely perfect. The only thing that's obviously missing is a tab, which was why I have also printed this off on paper. And again, I'm going to use some of that cardboard because I wanted this script for a tab. And I'm going to use my 1-inch circle punch. So I think we've got some gluing to do first of all. So let's snip some of this off. And line that out of the way. Okay, so I'm going to glue this down. Now this is clearly overkill. I do not need this huge piece, but it's just in case I make a mistake. I always like to have too much rather than too little. So again, let's perhaps use this bit down here since this is where we've already started cutting. I'm just going to pop that on there, and again just smooth it out to make sure that glue is getting everywhere it needs to. What else was I gluing? I've got to glue this down, haven't I? Let's glue these two pieces together. Okay, that'll do. Okay, so that's that all stuck down. Right, I also want to round the corners. So I'm going to come in and do that, round that one and that one. Because obviously I want it to match these, and those have rounded corners here but not there, so I'm not going to do those ones. I am also going to give this a little bit of an ink just around the outside, just to help get rid of those white edges. And I love that we've got those little mice on that side as well, actually. Right, okay, so now that we've got that, I have also got a little bit of cheesecloth, which I thought I might add underneath the book, just to again add a little bit of, I don't know, a bit of texture, a bit of something. It doesn't have to be quite so much as that. Maybe a little bit more sort of snowiness, and then that's going to go there. I don't think there's an orientation to this book, I don't think so. Right, so let's get those bits stuck down. Oops. Don't want to cover up the mouse. And then I'm going to stick this cover down. Oh, that's so cute. They look like they're reading a book. Right, and then at the top is where I need my tab. So now that that's had a moment to dry, I think what angle I want to come in. I'm just going to snip slightly. Sorry, I'm just trying to think where I need to actually go, but I think I'm just trying to think of the orientation that it's going to be in a second. I'm going to punch a couple just in case. Okay, and then I'm just going to bring in this one. Now February's over there, so I'm thinking I might have January on this side. So I'm just going to again give this a tinsy bit of an ink. Maybe not necessarily all the way round, so it blends in a bit more with the thing. Right, so sorry, I'm just flipping that round just so I know the height of the circle. So about there. Okay, so the height is about there. Right, and now that's done, I can flip it over. Whoops. Again, just going to half ink it, and then that's going to go on that side. Oh, look at that. That almost looks like it's made for it. That was exactly the right position. I'd say that's pretty fluky. Right, fabulous. Okay, just to add one little final touch, I'm thinking I want to add a little kind of bow element up the top here. So I'm going to use the smallest punch on my crocodile. I'm just going to create a hole, hopefully in line. Just get rid of those extra pieces. And then I'm going to put my string through. I'm going to just pull quite a lot through because I just want to make sure that I've got plenty of string, and I can always trim off where I don't need it. And I'm just going to create a pretty bow. Right, do I want some green in here? Can I make a bow out of the green? Let's try a bow this way. And see if maybe I can attach that in some way. Get off. Nope, I honestly don't understand. Clearly I was never meant to make bows. I've seen a really cool way. Somebody did it using a fork. Might have to find that video again. Well, that's not a bad little bow. Maybe we can use that in here. Okay, so let's perhaps tie a knot in that. Oops. Okay, so just have a knot in that. Well, that can have the strings coming down, not a problem. And then we're just going to pop that over the top. Right, just grabbed some glue dots because they're really useful for things like this. Right, so what I'm going to do, I'm just going to snip that at an angle. And then try and do the same on the other side. So about there. Okay, and then I'm just going to pop the glue dot down on there, hopefully. Oh, these are sticky. Right, and then I'm going to try and train where I want the legs to go on the bow, something like that. Aha, there we go. That's what I was after. And then I can snip these off as well. Right, there is my dashboard. Let's get the holes punched in and let's get it in the planner and see how it looks. Right, these do sometimes take me a minute to work out, so let's see if we can figure this out. So we want A5, which is there. Kind of pop it in, punch, flip it around the other way, punch, and hopefully all the holes are where they need to be. Let's have a look. Right, so this was my February one, wasn't it? So let's pop you back in. Jump back to January. So I've got obviously that this journal belongs to, but then we launched straight into January. So I wanted something to go over the top of January. And we are very much in winter still, aren't we? Oh, that looks beautiful. Love it, love it, love it, love it. And the green goes perfectly with my green journal as well. The circle is the perfect height. And it's really good that I've put it on this side actually, because each of them go along, and then I was missing the one here. So perfect placement. Everything worked out beautifully. So we can see our little mice having a look through their little book. I think that's really, really cute, reading their favourite book, as was the prompt. And we've got a pretty little decoration up the top as well. And yes, it does add a little bit of bulk, but like I said, I've only got 6 months in here anyway. And by the time you've kind of got everything else on here, it does kind of flatten it down anyway. So yeah, I am super happy with that. Everything still closes and functions as it should, so really, really happy with that. I love how this looks. It's so cute. Those mice are so adorable. And yeah, there they are reading their favourite book. Well, thank you so much for joining me. As I said, this is day 10. The prompt was favourite book/film. Please feel free to go and check out all of the other creators as well. As I said, we are on day 10, so go and do a catch up if you need to. I'm sure you'll find lots and lots of inspiration from everybody taking part. Thank you so much, everybody. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I will see you all in the next crafty video. Bye for now.